Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is May 26, 2023, on the eve of a long holiday weekend. Bender, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. Thanks.
Bender says he all right. That means we're all right, right? Isn't that how that works?
All right.
At least it should. All right, so we're coming into a day, had a nice, couple of days, a little bit of NVIDIA. Everybody like putting on the NVIDIA t-shirt costume saying we are all NVIDIA. And we come into this morning, futures were looking pretty nice. We did have data come out this morning that, again, just absolutely screams to the top of its lungs. And if you are being the quote unquote honest broker that I know we all are, you can't look at these data points over the last, let's say, couple of months and be like, yeah, no, we're going to get some rate cuts here pretty soon. Yeah, that's not exactly within the mix of the data that we see. Maybe it's in some data that we don't see, but within the data that we do see, that shit just ain't in the cards. However, Bull has taken the reins, and Bull is riding this train for as long and hard and fast as it possibly can. So here we go. We're back into the mix. We did have this little pop overnight. It is somewhat giving back off the data release. We do get more data at the top of the hour. Costco, they had their ER. They basically got it down, and just bits and pieces that I heard and then have seen. Basically, they're sitting there screaming, we're kind of sort of in a recession. But yet the stock was able to rebound mightily. Ulta, on the other hand, not so much. Restoration Hardware on the other side, not so much. Not so much for some of these others. So Costco is going to be interesting to watch from a price action standpoint. We saw kind of the opposite with Walmart in a lot of ways. Walmart beat guide up, gravy over there, and Walmart has done nothing but sell down since ER. It's well under 150 again, which again, one of those things that it's counterintuitive to the actual, release and guidance. It sells down. You look at Target, kind of the opposite. It went up until they did some stuff with some tuck-in pants that I don't even understand what the hell that is and why it's a thing and why it would be advertised. It's like, I don't understand. But Bender, do you know what I'm realizing? The more hours I spend on this planet, do you know what I'm realizing?
There's no telling. No telling.
You're actually right. There is no telling. But logic really doesn't play into a lot of things, especially when we start talking about the decisions that these corporations are making. Do you remember back, let's say 5-10 years ago, where no matter what decision a corporation made from its marketing or whatever, always had the bottom line locked and loaded in as far as what they were doing? Do you remember that?
That's what you would want it to be like, right?
Yeah, but that's the way it used to be. It's like, we are not going to put out a campaign. We're not going to do anything. It even goes back to Michael Jordan. If we want to go back to when marketing really exploded with Air Jordan, when it came to, they're like, you never talk about, social issues. You never talk about anything like that. And his response, point blank, was, Republicans buy shoes too.
Yeah.
So if you're a publicly traded company, you have an obligation to whom? Your shareholder.
Mm-hmm. So why are you doing shit that doesn't make money?
Right. You have an obligation to your employees to where they actually get to still have jobs. What you don't have an obligation to do is clutch your pearls while your stock price fucking plummets. That's, I think, what do they call that? Dereliction of duty? Incompetence.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like just is it, what else can you call it? And speaking of dereliction of duty and incompetence, we're coming into the final hours of this little debt ceiling, you know, grab ass affair between McConnell and Biden, where you can literally point the finger at either one of them and be like, "You're a fucking idiot." Like no matter what, you can literally point it at either one of them and be like, "You're just dumb. You're just really, really dumb." However, all the rumors, grumblings, whatever you want to call it, say that, hey, this is going to be fixed. This is going to be done. We're going to get a deal. Everything's going to be all good. So, whenever that is officially announced, I'm sure we can expect some type of algo candle that is going to rock the foundation of whatever you're trying to do, whether good or bad. So, Bender, again, we're still in your little torture box over there. It's kind of boxy and tortury. Why don't you tell us more about that? We can actually see where we are and kind of where.
Tell you more about my torturous boxes.
Your torturous boxes, because hey, we're going into a long weekend. The question I think ultimately is, should we stay or should we go? That's always the question at the beginning and end of every day. Should we stay or should we go? So what you got?
Well, given that it's a holiday weekend, you should probably just go. You know, just go. That's probably what most of Wall Street has done. They're probably done. They've left.
Yeah, but they can set algos and walk away. It's like I don't have the ability to do that.
Well, maybe you should work on that. Work on an algo for us. Okay, well, let's start with here's a 1 hour chart. And I drew a couple, and by the way, I went for this back to a dark theme because I've gotten plenty of DMs saying stop blinding me. A lot of people prefer looking at the dark background. So played around with the colors, try to find something I like. All right, so what I've got on here are...
So hang on a second. You prefer white backgrounds instead of colored backgrounds?
I go back and forth.
Okay. All right. All right. Just checking.
But I had somebody yesterday tell me that, well, maybe your eyes, since this is like a new thing, staring at bright white screens all day is not good for your eyes or something. And it probably doesn't help that I usually sit in the dark when I'm doing it because the glare from the lights in the ceiling shine directly on my screen. Anyway, okay, so I threw fibs on here from the lows on May 4th, the high that we put in on the 19th. And you've got 50% and 61.8% retracements, which is typically the buy zone, right, on a pullback. Well, we did get through that. We have now reclaimed it. And, we're up near just above what would have been that 382 level, that 382 fib. The reason I threw this on here is because moving forward, I want to see if we're going to move up. I want to see this zone in here between 50%, 61.8% retracement. I want to see that hold, right? So this is kind of the bigger move, bigger picture move. Then inside of that, we have this most recent pull, right? And so I measured that move. And as you can see, we are right up into that 50% retracement of this move, right? We're still under 61.8% retracement, or the 618. This being the zone, that golden ratio, where if you were looking to short, you wait for the bounce, and this is the zone that you would be looking to enter short, right? So this is what we have to keep on watch until it gets through this, right? I'm looking at this going, okay, well, if you were wanting to short or a move, okay, from the up move, the pullback did not quite hold those levels, again, it has reclaimed them. But on this most recent move down, if you were looking to enter short, this is kind of that area that you would look. So, now, especially given that it's a Friday, and I do firmly believe that, much of Wall Street is gone for the weekend, at least the ones that matter. We could just blow through that, right? But this is that zone where folks would look to enter short if they're looking for a move lower. So until we get through this 4181 half, that is the perspective that I have to take. If I zoom in a bit, we're going to go to a 15-minute here. And what I have marked, we've got the pre-market low down here, 41.48.25. I have the pre-market high up here, 41.71.75. This 3 a.m. open, 41.62.75. And then I have the midpoint between the pre-market low and the pre-market high at 41.60. Right? We know 41.48 has been a pain in the ass. We keep returning to it as we did this morning, just one tick off at 41.48.25. Right? So coming out of the gate, I'm going to be watching this pre-market high, see if we can get through that. We're going to show weakness. When we get below the midpoint there, that 41.60, then we'll be looking at 51.51.25 and watching that pre-market low 41.48.25. If we get below that, then 41.39.75 and ultimately 41.14. That's way down there, but you can see some of these levels in between here and there that would become targets below that pre-market low. You get below that pre-market low and there's not a whole lot stopping it below 41.48, right? This 41.35 area, I know Mancini had that as a key level that he wants to see hold right in here. And that would likely be the target below 41.48.25. You have the overnight low, but this area down here would likely be the target. On a move above the pre-market high and above that 41.71.75, there's not a whole lot at this point stopping it from pushing up towards 4,200. And then we still have that first fair value gap of the week all the way up here, 42.07-ish. So those are kind of the levels that I'm looking for to see if they break and what we do once we break them, right? If we break it and just barely wick above and then pull back, that's not going to give me confidence that we're going to continue to push to the upside. But if we get through it, pull back, use it as support, and come up, push up towards that 41.80, cool. I'll be targeting up here towards 4,200. Keep in mind, again, like I was saying, I do firmly believe that that today will likely be mostly algo driven, and they can decide to pin this thing right in between here. This may be one of those days where we get some move early and then it's masturbatory and nothing happens. Last thing I will say is that, in the sort of bigger picture, right? Like this price action that we have seen, going back to the beginning of April, just, I mean, at some point, right, a break of this is going to occur. it's expanding in something that does not look bullish, right? We're looking at the daily time frame now. If I kind of zoom that down, you can also see some, if we go from the highs, all-time high up there, down to the lows that we put in October, 2022, the retracement to the 618 of that was right there. Let's see. That's not what I was looking at. Right in here. 50% retracement of that. 42, 27, 25. And then measuring this move from August down to that same low. 786 retracement right there at that same level, right? So there was a lot of things that coincide right there that makes sense as to why, that has been such strong resistance. So, when we finally break through that, whenever that time comes, I think that's going to release a lot of pressure that will allow us to push higher. But for now, this is the bigger picture, is that we're just kind of stuck in this pattern right now. And so, I think if we break down here below 4114 again, or under 4100, and this pattern is to continue, then, we probably come back down and retest, somewhere down in here, low 4,000 area. But that's, bigger picture. I think that's about all I got.
So what's going to happen?
See, I don't know what's going to happen. It's all about if this, then that. That's how I approach it. So I gave you those if this, then that, and what I'll be looking for. That's it. So I know where those levels are, right? I know, okay, if we get through this, then I'll be looking here. If we get below
I get it. The only reason why I ask it is it's mind melting to me. So that data comes out, sell. And these fucking butt cracks are sitting here just drilling back to the upside data that is still the same data that just came out a few minutes ago. So it's always amazing to me, Bender, how it's like data's bad. We must sell here, sell. And then, oh, well, okay, let's just buy it all back now. It's like the data is still the same. It's not changing just because you sold, 6 handles, and then it's like, okay, then we're going to buy it back. Yeah.
But I don't imagine this is people over there pressing the button, right? These are algos that are reading that data and
it's
reacting.
Always a mix of both, right? It's like avalanches are avalanches one way or the other. Takes a pebble and then it just, snowballs, avalanches, whatever it may be. It's mesmerizing to me, especially when you go through your charts and that kind of stuff. I'm just like, yeah, but so that was okay. And it doesn't have to be the same algo, right? It doesn't have to be the same group that sells and then buys.
Right.
It's like there's something going on. Somebody sees something differently than somebody else. Anyways, all right, Sonny, what you got, man?
Morning, everyone. Not much on the upgrade side that caught my eye, but on the downgrade, 2 big ones, MDB and Snow, they were both given a sell rating. MDB is 3% this morning. On the gap ups, we have MRVL based on the ER and saying AI over and over. I think maybe Stonky can put a song together with it.
Can we use Old McDonald? Can we do
that's
that?
That's what I was getting to. You kind of caught that.
Old McDonald had some AI. AIO.
Yep. I'm surprised McDonald's didn't put out anything about AI yesterday. They had their investor day. Other gap ups are PDD and JD and Paramount Para. So they got a couple of investment banks putting some money into Para. On the news side, so this one was interesting. I tweeted this out yesterday. I think you caught it too. Tesla and Ford partnership allowing Ford EVs to use the Tesla superchargers. So that's kind of interesting. I think it creates a revenue opportunity for Tesla. We could see larger Tesla charging places. Rivian showcased their new SUV the other day, and they said they're on track to deliver 50,000 vehicles this year. This is like, their vans they make plus the R1T and this new SUV. I think that's all 50,000 together. So they're sticking by their guns for now. JPM also put out news out, they're working on a chat GPT style AI to pick stocks, which is kind of interesting, see who uses it. There was also a tweet yesterday we saw about, New York City blocking bank deposit limits to Capital One and KeyBank. So this is the deposits not for the people, but the city for their payroll purposes, things like that. They approved like 26 banks, and only 2 that they didn't or limited was Capital One and KeyBank. So there was some movement in it, algo spikes in it. I'll watch those 2 to see if that news causes any issues for those guys. American Express is a top pick by Morgan Stanley. They think it can rally 20%, and they're also saying the sell is overdone. SoFi also kind of had the same news that the sell seems to be overdone. This one caught my eye. Abbott and DXCM, they're talking about how, diabetes is on the rise, and the traditional blood sugar monitoring is outdated, where you're monitoring twice a day and things like that. So they're moving to like a continuous monitoring technology, like, Mercado and things like that. And we saw some flow coming into both of these last week. Definitely something to watch and catch a move on these guys. On the European side, so Meta has agreed to reduce usage of advertising data from other businesses or stuff that's sold on their marketplace. So this is same to what Amazon got caught a couple of years ago doing. They saw the third-party sellers that are on Amazon, what was the most sold products, and Amazon went out and started creating Amazon Basics to flood the market with the same products and kill the revenue for these other guys. PLTR is going to have their customer conference on June 1st, and they're going to be broadcasting it this time. And that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Sonny. Appreciate all that. Stonkington, paging Stonkington.
Hello.
Can we get a round of applause for Stonkington's song yesterday? Again, it was absolutely exceptional. The tone, the chords that he hit, everything about that song yesterday was absolutely unbelievable. So, round of applause for Stonkington for coming through with pure and utter greatness.
Hey, thank you. Yeah. All right. Guess got to stick with the tried and true hits. Good to know. All right. Let's see. I found a quote for today. This is a Mr. Thomas Edison, inventor. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Don't give up. Don't never stop. Try and keep going. Thank you, Mr. Edison. Let's look at some charts. All right, I'm going to do a share. We got the Russell. So we're in this megaphone, which would be a bearish one because it is rising. And we've got our Mr. T lines. This candle right here would be our last up close candle before this push down. So I've got this one marked. You can see it's had some nice reactions to it. We rejected it already twice. And then below, this would be another Mr. T order block. Big push up off that line. So going to see which one has to hit first. We've got our new week opening gap. It's had some reaction. That's above. And if we're going to continue downside, we still have to fill this in. You can see this fair value gap below on a 4 hour. So that is what I will be watching in the Russell. We saw some flow. We've seen people taking bull shots on the Russell out to September, which is interesting. So just going to kind of watch, keep an eye and see what they do with the IWM, see what they do with the Russell calls. So we'll see what we get there. Let's jump over to the NASDAQ. And let's see. We left this tiny, this I think is a lower time frame fair value gap. We might have even filled it in. Looks like after the close there yesterday. Upside, we still have these targets for open. This is on a 4 hour fair value gaps all the way up there. Also still in this massive rising setup here, we can see. And then we've got some downside lines to be aware of here, some order blocks that Mr. T would be looking for this. What is this? 899.25. You can see lining up with some down close candles that we popped off of. And then again, we'd have, this is one on an hourly. So some of our downside targets on an hourly, it does kind of look like we're in another one of these like rising setups. If we zoom in, just kind of maybe something like this. Let's get our trend line going. Come on. Oh, what the fuck? There we go. Something like that. Maybe we got one below. Which is, we saw that one on the 5 minute yesterday and that paid. So we're kind of like a rising setups all around. So this is kind of what we'll be watching on the NASDAQ today. We'll see what we get with flow. But I think, you know, if everyone's on vacation, like Bender says, we'll just got to be cautious. Let's jump over to some individual tickers. Apple, not much has changed. Still watching these two dark pools. The one we've got above is this 173.57. 17. That's a big one. 17% for May 8th. Below, they keep adding. Last night's dark pool line was 172.99. There was a decent amount of money on that one. So that's going to be like right in the middle here too. So this is just all a wall of money here on the Apple. And maybe even this could be a right shoulder of Head and Shoulders if this is the head and something over here, as well as this huge rising setup. So we'll see what they do with Apple. And then let's see, I think the other one that got some dark pool last night was going to be NVIDIA. And it's sitting on it right now. So this 279.80, that came in 5% average 30-day. I adjusted the fibs to kind of match with the pop off the ER. So if we go up, we looking see what they do with this line up here, 394.65. For downside, I'll be looking at this 374.53 on NVIDIA. I didn't put it on the official watch list, but I think another one that could be interesting today would be Netflix. It's I had this line that it's already popped. What was that? 360.65. So above, we've got a dark pool 360.01. It's got this kind of trend line it's been rejecting along the way. So we'll keep an eye on. I'm going to have an eye on Netflix to see what we get on that one. But that's all I have for today.
All right. Very nice, Stonkington. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. All right. It's
Good
Friday, going into holiday weekend. I don't know that there's a whole lot to say. We do have more data coming in at the top of the hour. If it's anything like the other one, they'll sell it and then put in a higher high like they just did off of the trash data. So good times, good times. Let's have fun. It's like we have a long holiday weekend in front of us. Let's have some fun today and have that fun carry over into the weekend. That's all I got. We got a couple of minutes. 10 minutes until open? 10 minutes until open. We'll see you soon. Thanks, fellas.
See you in a few.